In 1739, a grave digger's shovel accidentally cracked open one end of William's coffin.
Zounds!
This fateful mishap likely planted the seed for the story that Roger Williams was eaten by an apple tree. Like thousands of 17th-century Puritans fleeing religious persecution in England, ordained minister Roger Williams and his wife set sail for New England. They landed near Boston in 1631. Soon after his arrival, Williams found himself involved in numerous controversies with the Puritan leaders of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. The most notable was his assertion that colonists had wrongfully seized, stolen Native American lands. He also argued for the separation of church and state, claiming that civil authorities had no right to enforce the Ten Commandments. Forced worship, he said, stinks in God's nostrils. Due to his dissenting opinions, he was banished in the winter of 1635. Decades later, he recalled the piercingly cold winter as the snow which I feel yet. If it weren't for the Indians who fed him, he would have starved to death. He wrote, "For 14 weeks, I did not know what bread or bed did mean." In 1636, he purchased land from the Narragansett Indians. He named this new colony Providence Plantations, now called Providence, Rhode Island. When Williams died in 1683, he was buried in an unmarked grave behind his farm. Providence did not establish a cemetery until 1700. In 1739, a grave digger's shovel accidentally cracked open one end of William's coffin.
Zounds!
This fateful mishap likely planted the seed for the story that Roger Williams was eaten by an apple tree. 121 years later, in 1860, the citizens of Providence decided to memorialize their founder's grave. Williams' house had crumbled years ago, and a new one, the Sullivan Door House, now occupied its space. Although the landscape had changed, the location of his grave had not. However, the same couldn't be said for Williams' remains. The excavation of his coffin revealed only a few teeth, some bones, and rusted coffin nails and hinges. No skull. In place of his skeleton lay a root of an apple tree, twisted into the shape of Roger Williams himself. Author J. Dorman Steele described the eerie phenomenon in his 1868 book. The apple tree had sent down two main roots. The larger root followed the direction of the backbone to the hips. Here it divided into two branches, sending one along each leg to the heel, when both turned upward to the toes. Rhode Island writer and overachiever Zachariah Allen proposed a hypothesis for the bones-to-branches transformation. Briefly put, he said that by the time the apple tree was planted, the body's flesh had fully decomposed, leaving behind just enough bones for the roots to trace and form a skeletal shape. The root was damaged during the excavation, but a piece is on display in a coffin-shaped frame at the John Brown House in Providence. It made an appearance in 2015 at the Roger Williams National Memorial's anniversary celebration. The refreshment served was cider.
Thanks for watching.
Post-mortem. We don't know what Roger Williams looked like, but it's unlikely he resembled the statue at his namesake university. Sculptor Armand Lamontagne modeled Roger's face after another famous Williams, his hero, Ted Williams, the legendary left fielder for the Boston Red Sox.